A self-propelled artillery unit is a combat vehicle designed for direct fire support of tanks and infantry in battle. Speed, accuracy, and maneuverability are what distinguish modern SPGs, but not the Russian ones. So, while the whole world, keeping pace with the US and NATO, is actively developing high-speed wheeled units, Russia, where decent roads are scarce, continue to produce heavy-tracked SPGs. Russia managed to ignore common sense and global military trends for almost 30 years. And so, in the early 2020s, the Kremlin generals finally acknowledged the futility of tracked self-propelled guns and promised to transition the army to wheeled SPGs.
This is specifically the exact weight category, the exact caliber.
For this purpose, the 2S-43 Malva was specifically created, a Russian 152mm artillery complex on the chassis of an all-wheel drive VAZ-6610 with an 888 wheel configuration. However, is the Russian Malva really as good as Kremlin propaganda praises it to be? Or will Putin's little flower turn out to be just a withering decorative plant on the grave of the Russian defense industry? For the first time, the Russian-wheeled SP artillery was loudly, in an instant, the new SP artillery became, the bunker was spreading around the world praising the advanced weaponry of the Russian army.
If we take our latest weaponry, they clearly surpass everyone. That's an obvious fact.
Just as it's an obvious fact that all of this is merely unsubstantiated words from Putin. In reality, almost nothing is known about Putin's Malva. After the May premiere during the parade, no one has seen the Russian unparalleled self-propelled artillery, not even the tirelessly praising propagandists. Even in the year 2024, 5 years after the start of prototype production, to show the Russian Malva to local journalists, you have to travel to the other end of the world, to the Middle East.
Are there pills for foolishness? Then give me some kind of pill. Well, really, honestly.
It's just that scientists are unlikely to ever invent a pill for Russian foolishness. So the Russian army has what it has, although in theory, the 2S-43 Malva is intended to target the enemy's tactical nuclear weapons, strike artillery batteries, a rifled howitzer from the tracked Mista. That's basically it. It seems that 1,000 kilometers is the maximum distance a Russian installation can travel before it completely falls apart. It's no wonder that instead of it, Russia only brings plastic models of the self-propelled artillery and colorful brochures about the strength and power of the Russian. Incidentally, it's with the French Caesar that Russian propagandists love to compare their wheeled self-propelled gun. However, in this confrontation, the Malva loses completely. With dimensions of 13 by almost 3 meters and a total weight of an impressive 32 tons, the Russian self-propelled artillery, according to Kremlin generals, has a firing rate of 7 rounds per minute and a range of nearly 25 kilometers. The Malva's operability is maintained by a crew of 5.
The tactical and technical characteristics of the Caesar self-propelled artillery far exceed the similar tactical and technical characteristics of the Soviet-Russian weaponry that the occupiers have.
The French self-propelled artillery system on a 6x6 wheeled chassis from the company Renault with a weight of 18 tons has a length of 10 meters and a width of 2.5 meters. The cabin is armored, providing protection against bullets up to 7.62 caliber and shrapnel shells. The Caesar is armed with a modernized version of the 155mm gun with a semi-automatic ammunition feeding system. It has a range of up to 600 kilometers and its maximum speed reaches 100 kilometers per hour. It should be noted that the characteristics of the Malva claimed by Russian propaganda are not substantiated by anything. However, the French self-propelled artillery units prove their much higher performance on the battlefield daily. Today, more than 50 flagships of French artillery are successfully fighting in Ukraine. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion by the occupiers, official Paris has already delivered several batches of its self-propelled artillery units to us. And now they have a unique opportunity to measure their strength against the Russian self-propelled guns. not just in words, but in action. Recently, the much-vaunted new addition from Putin was spotted on the front for the first time. The occupiers used the new equipment during battles in the Kharkiv region, shelling our positions from the territory of Belgorod. The Russian Malva was recorded by a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone, which conducts constant surveillance of Russian artillery along the border.
War is unfortunately such a testing ground for any weaponry. Right now, it is undergoing testing.
However, the notorious Russian testing might result in the new self-propelled artillery unit, dozens according to the most optimistic forecasts, encountering a shell from the Ukrainian armed forces. As soon as Ukraine's key Western partners allowed striking military targets in Russia with their missiles and artillery, Ukraine immediately took advantage of this right. Just a few hours after the US gave the green light to use their missiles on the territory of the aggressor country, our defenders launched the first combined strikes against the enemy. Now among the current priority targets for the Ukrainian armed forces, the S-300 and S-400 systems and air defense and electronic warfare means included are 2 S-43 Malva spotted in the fields of Belgorod. Well, we can only wish our defenders a swift detection and spectacular elimination of it. As soon as this happens, we will definitely tell you about it and show it. In the meantime, like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new episodes of Arsenal.